So we can apply animators to our text to do per character animation like we see here. What we're going to do now is we're going to learn how to combine multiple animators together. Now we're in Combining Animators AEP, which you can find in the Animating Text Layers folder. Now at the moment we have Animator 1, which is animating our text moving from the top of the screen downwards. Now we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to look at how to combine multiple properties within one animator, and then how to combine animators together. So the first thing we're going to do is just add a new property to this animator. And as it's moving in, I also want it to come in as if it's scaling as well. So it's scaling down from a larger size. In order to see what we're doing, we're going to switch off the Enable Motion Blur button, just so we can see the characters more clearly coming in. And this time, selecting our Animator 1 down in the timeline, we want to go to the Add property group, not the Animate property group. That will add a new animator. And we want to say Add property, Scale. And nothing happens initially, but as soon as we scrub the scale value, notice that that exclamation mark is now scaling up. So basically, what we're doing is adding a scale value to our range selector. And if I put that up to 500%, we'll now have the text scaling as it's moving in. So you're basically adding it to the same range. So all the characters within the range will scale up as well as animating position. Now 500 is a little bit too high, so let's put that on 300. Let's put motion blur back on, and let's see how that looks. Okay, we could even add another property. We could maybe add rotation. Change the rotation value to 1 revolution. And now, as it moves in, it also rotates. So you can continue adding other properties to one animator. But what we're going to do is add a second animator. So what I want you to do is close up Animator 1, hit Return on the keyboard with it selected, and call it Position, Scale, Rotation, Fly In. Okay, and we'll do that as fly in, 2 words. That way I can clearly see what that animator is doing. So now what I want to do is I want to create a new animator, and this is the power of animators. I can add another position property to this. Why would I do that? Well, what I want to do is I want to get all the letters animating as if they're fizzy and alive. Okay, so with this one, what I'm going to do is just get each of the characters to wiggle around a little bit. And in order to do that, I'm not going to use the range selector. What I'm going to do is go to the Add menu of this animator. So make sure it's this one, not the one above. And I'm going to choose Selector. And there are different types of selector, and this one is called a wiggly selector. So add the wiggly selector. Now initially nothing will happen because I haven't made a change to my position value. So the way it works is, if we have a look at our original position, which is 356244, this is offsetting it by 0, 0 on the X and Y axis. If I want to offset the position a little bit, all I need to do is just adjust the Y position, and you'll notice I'm now getting a random Y value. And if I preview that, you'll see what's happening is the text flies in, but then I'm also getting a little bit of random position value on all of the letters. Now at the moment, the wiggle speed is quite slow, so I can go into my wiggly selector, and in here I could change the wiggles per second up to something like 50. And now, if I close the wiggly selector and just RAM preview that, you'll notice now the text is moving around really, really quickly. Now, I think 9 is a little bit too extreme. We only want it moving a little bit. So let's take that down to a value of 5. And let's also put a value of 1 on the X as well. And now it will move a little bit on the X-axis as well. So we have our text shivering about as if it's full of fizz and energy. Fantastic. Now we could also add a little bit of scale to that. So if I add another property, let's add scale, and let's just put a little bit of random scale in there. And you'll notice that it's scaling each of the axes independently. So we're getting this really nice random horizontal and vertical scale. Now, if you decide you don't want it scaling non-uniformly like that, again, you can go into the wiggly selector and you can adjust it so that it locks the dimensions. So click on Lock Dimensions. And now, when it wiggles, it will maintain the correct aspect ratio. You'll see it scaling uniformly. Okay, so a really nice effect. Now, I might decide I only want the fizzing effect to happen on the center word drink, so the middle word drink. In which case, I can use the combination of the range selector and the wiggly selector. So again, I could go into my advanced section, choose to measure my text using index, and then decide, okay, I want to start at character 8 perhaps. Okay, and end at character 14. Okay, I need to adjust that slightly so it's between 7 and 14. And now when we preview it, only the middle letters are animating using the wiggly selector. Now the great thing about this is, I've done all that, it's really easy to make adjustments to the keyframes. If we have a look, select the layer and hit U on the keyboard, we've only got 2 keyframes to muck about with. So if I want to extend the animation, make it last a bit longer, I can just drag out that second keyframe and it will adjust the timing. And the other great thing is, if I double click the text, it's still editable. So I can go in there, select the word drink and replace it with the word energy. And of course we want to make that all caps, so I'm just going to select it again, go into my character panel and make it all caps. So it now reads drink, energy, drink. Now the only thing about that is when you edit the text, you'll notice it changes the number of characters, so we have that exclamation mark hanging there at the end. So you would need to just make sure that you either maintain the same number of characters, or you will need to now go and change the range selector values so that we're working with a range between 21 instead of 20. But I'm just going to undo that change of text, so we're back to drink, drink, drink. There we have it, a couple of animators to create some really dynamic text animation.